All right, dude.
Holy shit. We are in the machine. Just so you guys know, behind the scenes, we've been dealing with about 15 minutes of what they call an idiocracy, technological difficulties.
Because you have the two most technically inclined people ever.
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
It. Yeah.
But we have a very, very special guest on our weekly Q&A. This was very informal. I just invited my bro. I was like, Sam, you should come on. For those of you guys who don't know Sam, besides being a raging homosexual, he is a brilliant star of the software called Upex. He is also built and sold his own 7-figure agency. And by the way, there's probably 100-ish gurus that I've seen online talking about growing this agency thing. I would say probably only about 10 or 15 of those are legit. And of the ones that are legit, there's nobody that I agree with more than this guy. We're big on the easy to sell, easy to fulfill. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Also, let me just put in the comments because I'm going to do a shameless plug here. Cole says I'm an idiot. Yeah, us too, dude. We couldn't figure out how to make this shit work.
We are idiots.
But I'm going to just share, come party in LA. You're going to get to hang with us two jabronis. So I'm going to just put LA in a link, and hopefully that goes where it's supposed to go. There we go. So, dude,
buddy,
you ready to party?
Yeah, man, let's do it. Well, right. I'm ready to party in LA. That's going to be fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn and Sam Carlson proudly bring to you our weekly Q&A. All right, cool. Let's I'm gonna let you actually take the first one. We're live, dude. It's working. We finally got StreamYard to break us into the matrix. Although I think something's up because we only got a couple of people on. That usually is a lot more. But anyways, let's roll with what we got here. I guess I'm going to get the first one, Sam, since they gave me a big shout out, and the next one's for you. But Will says, "Hey Frankie, I've landed my first client thanks to your videos. I've targeted roofers who specifically want EPDM flat roof jobs. I sold him on local SEO. He's paying £900 a month. Might seem cheap to you, but it's a lot for me. But now I actually need to fulfill the service. I've said it takes about 6 months until he sees results and he understands that. But I'm a bit scared of me trying this and it not working out. And then he's paid me $5.4 thousand after 6 months. I've done nothing for him. If you were in my position, how would you get him more EPDM roofing jobs? I'll also drop this question onto your next live. I know you're probably incredibly busy. Thanks a lot. We're never too busy for you guys. We try our best to help everyone, just so you guys know. But let's talk flat roofing. Sam, I'll get your thoughts on this just in a second. But since this one was addressed to me, it's just the basics, bro. Like, make their website talk about flat roofing, rank them for some keywords that talk about flat roofing, publish content about flat roofing, make their GBP talk about flat roofing, put pictures of flat roofing on all their stuff and their social media, and then build content. It's really just like the basics done at scale. But firstly, just so you know, like, big congrats, getting the monkey off your back, getting the first person paying you £900 a month. Like, that's huge. And just so you know, like, nobody bats 100. Like, all you can do is you can hang your hat on, I'm going to do the best I possibly can. Like, nobody controls Google. You know, Google may not even exist in 6 months in its current form, the way AI is headed, right? So who knows where all of this is headed? So I just say, like, do your best, you know, like, but make everything look the part. Like, if you're trying to get EDM roofing, like, tell people on your website that's what you do. Like, EDM, that shitty dance music. So I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add on that, Sam.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't know if everybody really understands the assignment, like what we do. You know what I mean? Because they make the. So, by the way, it is the right sentiment to have to say, I just took this client's money and now I need to perform. That is the right moral.
It's called having a conscience.
Yeah, that's right. But you actually are not going to help them as much if you don't understand what the true obligation is and how it really works. So when people treat any service or anything like it's a vending machine, that to me is a person that is putting A, undue pressure on their entire business, and B, they don't really understand what they are supposed to do. And so for me, it's always like, okay, well, what is the ultimate strategy? What's the goal? And so this guy is doing SEO for Flat Roof in the UK. Is that what the punchline was?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to set up like, what does successful look like? And the fundamentals of what Frankie's talking about, yeah, you're going to have a website that is clear on what you do. It's going to have value proposition. It's going to do all the things that good marketing is supposed to do. But how do you know if it's actually winning or if you're just kind of guessing? Because you're probably not going to see in the first 30 days a client go, whoa, and like freak out. They never do. They're never going, and you never get all the credit that you should. But if you tell them, if you define what successful looks like, then you can say, hey, look how much your traffic was this, and now your traffic is this. That's great, because now we're establishing an awareness pool of your business. Do you want to know what that means in like regular people's terms? 10,000 more people know about you in the last 90 days who did not know about you before. That's going to trickle. Here's what we're doing next. And so I think it's just understanding, like, you got to really, what gets measured gets managed. What is your actual job? Your job is not to make sales for them. And just define what success really looks like. I don't know. I see a lot of people in my own world that they want to perform so badly that it's almost like they're going to go to the client's business. They're going to sit in the desk of the client and they're going to sell the clients for the client. It's like, it's admirable, but you got to back off just a little bit.
Can I just say, by the way, for this special occasion, I'm rocking my UpHex shirt, my MVP shirt.
Turn around. Show them what the back looks like, bro. Watch out for your earbuds.
You guys want to see my ass? Is that what's going on? Can you guys
That's
see?
all about the ass. There you go. There you go. Agency launch live, powered by UpHex. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Woo. Love it.
I didn't hear any of that, but I'm assuming you were talking about how nice my ass is.
It was all about your ass, yes.
All right. We got actually next. Steven had a tag team question for you and I. He said, it might be a stupid question and what I'm already doing, but I'm just checking in case I'm missing anything obvious. When we promise them an outcome, for example, specific type of $100 bill client, so to speak, is there anything different or special about the implementation on Facebook ads to deliver on that offer versus normal Facebook ads? I've been running ads since 2016, but I'm just checking what method people use in case I'm not doing it right. And if there's a better way to target. I follow Sam, Michael, Carlson, and appreciate the help out of both of you, the dream team. Well, that you guys, Steven, you actually kind of inspired this a little bit. Oh, dude, they're shit talking my ass in the comments. Oh. Banned. Get out of my.
Do a couple squats. Get that thing all nice and plump.
So anyways, yeah. So I have some thoughts on it. First of all, for those of you guys who are not familiar with the term, $100 bill is, generally speaking, Sam and I are real big on find an untapped sub niche. And I think the easiest sub niche to specialize in is sell their most expensive thing for them. So, you know, we just talked about the last one, flat roofing. Most roofer calls, by the way, are somebody calling them up, having them drive across town. They patch a little leak. They put up 2 shingles. They charge $100, but when you add up the cost of the truck, driving an hour in gas, paying the workers, health insurance, et cetera, like they don't make any money doing that. But a flat roof, they might make 15, 20 grand off of. So all things being equal, obviously they like that. So the $100 bill is what I call, like, you know, their most desirable thing to sell. I don't think it's any harder or easier to sell their most desirable thing. It's just different. Like, let's say, you know, I don't know what made me think of this, but like a bakery. All right. If a bakery, they might have little muffins, they might have little coffee and tea. They might not tell anybody about this, but they might even do catering for like live events, and they might make a lot more money off of catering. If you wanted to sell catering, your ads don't say Frankie Finn's Bakery or Sam Carlson's Bakery. They have to specifically say, hey, we can cater your next event, right? And so you have to like directly aim it at the thing you're going for. And this is probably different. I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts on this too, Sam, because you run a lot more ads than I do, even though we run a fair number over here. But The Facebook algorithm is getting pretty smart. If you call out in your copy who it's for, it'll show it to the right people. So a lot of it is like, just make your ad the gatekeeper and say, hey, you got an event you need catered, whatever. Like, here's what we can do. And then what most local businesses, in my experience, suck at, which, by the way, this guy right here is really good at fixing, is they don't make fucking offers. They just tell people they exist. They go, Frankie Finn's Bakery, we make baked goods, come on in now. But they don't say, hey, we got the triple chocolate muffin for $1.99. Get your ass in here and try it, right? And so if you want to sell anything, you have a much greater chance if you actually attach a meaningful offer to it. And so chances are, like, part of your job is not just to create an ad and say we exist, but it's to help them articulate, give me this much money, and for that you'll get this higher in value thing. Now, for those of you guys who are using UpHex, my man over here has a library of cool shit to do that. So there may be a chance he already has that anyway. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, just Sam, on that. On, like, you know, how can our man Steven go?
I mean, what's really funny is when you get around people that have, and that's one of the things I loved about your book. For those of you who don't know, Frankie and I, we met at an event, I don't know, like 2 years ago.
We met in the urinal, and Sam was super impressed by my practice.
You're like, wow, that's a hog. No, but no, we met at an event, and I got to know. I had heard of Frankie's name, but I didn't know I had a book. And so I really enjoyed talking to him. So I got the book. And as I read through the book, I'm like, this dude actually did it. Like, I know he did it, because as I read through his book, all the stuff that you have to say or that you said, I'm like, you would only know that if you did it. So, you know, what you're saying, and my point for saying is we all kind of arrive to the same thing, but just in different ways. You call your $100 bill clients, right? And it's getting down to what I call my sub niche formula. Yeah. And so it really comes down to, there's three things in Steven's formula that actually matter. Number one is aiming really well-written ads at a sub niche. Okay. So I'm going to just deconstruct that a little bit. You can, and a sub niche, for anybody who doesn't know what that is, what some people call a niche, I call a category. So, for example, real estate agents. Real estate agents are not a niche. Okay. That would be a category of people. If you direct ads towards people interested in real estate, dude, you've got everything in, like, there's so many people, number one, competing for those same eyeballs, but number two, you're not saying anything. And so I narrow it down from, and my example that Frankie loves is real estate agents. That's the category. The niche is real estate agents working with first-time home buyers. And then the sub niche is real estate agents working with first-time home buyers who speak Spanish, right? And we chunk it in little by little. And the more specific we get, either in the audience or the thing that they sell, the more specific the ad is going to be. So punchline is...
Can I just say an objection to that I hear a lot is, won't that limit my market? Everybody always thinks when you do that, you'll make less money. And in practical experience, it's always the opposite. Is when you try and speak to everybody, you end up converting nobody. And when you're super specific, people are like, I want that.
Dude, it doesn't ruin the market. It makes the market.
Yeah.
Right. And the follow-up question I might have would be, how many clients are you looking to get?
Yeah, exactly. Most of you guys would hit your wildest income dreams with between 10 and 50 clients. This ain't Starbucks. You don't need fucking 22 million jabronis running in to make payroll. You need 10 motherfuckers paying you $3,000 a month, and you probably be making the most in your entire circle.
And so the first step is just making sure that you nail that specific approach. So whether it's your sub niche, your 100, we're all saying, he and I are saying the same thing.
Yeah, we just got different language for the same shit.
Exactly. And so that's like step number one. Step number two is you write an ad with a reason why. So the difference between Google ads and Facebook ads. So when you're optimizing SEO and you're doing Google ads, then you have a person who is searching. They have intent already. In Facebook, it's interruption. So you got to play a little bit different game. You got to get them to raise their hand for a different reason. And for me, when I'm running Facebook ads, and that's the thing I'm most well known for is Facebook ads. You need a reason why offer. Now, the beautiful part is, so everybody knows what an offer is on an ad. So let's say it's what was your thing before, your bakery or something? No, your
gator. Like get a double, triple chocolate muffin, or if you're in Sam's case, get a quad espresso, get all jacked up on caffeine.
Get all jacked up. I'm all hopped up on caffeine. So you could say, come in for a free this, or come in for get an extra shot in your latte, when you mention this code. Or you can say it's springtime and our spring offer to wake you up early or whatever. You give it a reason why we're going. I mean, you see this in I don't know how mattress companies go out of business all the time, but this is our blowout going out of business sale. But the reason they do that and then they're back in business is because there's a reason why. They always have a reason why. And if you're doing Facebook ads to make it appear unique, you can take the exact same offer, throw a new skin on it every single month, because in January it's New Year's, in February it's Valentine's Day, in March it's spring.
Can I give an example of this too? Because a lot of people are in industries where in your niche, it's like custom pricing. And so a lot of times it's book an estimate, book a proposal. So we got a guy, for example, in the mastermind, he does financial planners. And they think their offer is come on in for a consultation. But to me, the real meat and potatoes is when you said put a different skin on it, is what is that consultation about? So we helped him create one. A big reason people want to invest money is people like me want to do something for their kids, right? So it's hey, I'll show you how to put your kids through college, just putting away $100 a week. Get a free consult. And the catch is why it's free is because you just may want my help actually allocating and investing the money at the end of it, right? If you just say, hey, we got a free consultation, that's not very appealing in and of itself. But if you give them a reason why, I want to help you retire your kids. And there's nothing that stops them next week from saying, hey, do you want to retire at 65? And then the next week saying, something else, and they can put different wrappers on that same thing every single week and make it exciting. But if you just try and sell your client's thing going, hey, come in for a free consultation without a reason why they would want to book that consultation, you're going to have a real hard time selling it. And so are they.
Yeah. And if you want a little bit of a tip, as people who do digital marketing, you should all be very familiar with the GOATs of direct response marketing. And if you're writing an ad, you're like, hey, I have this offer, I need a reason why. David Ogilvy, in my opinion, is the best reason why marketer. Him or Gary Bencivenga. These are both people who would say, what's your offer? And then they would surround the offer with a reason why. So who was it? It was Steven. So Steven, if you're making these offers, copy and paste that, throw it into Claude and say, what's the reason why on my offer? And if it's pretty vague, say, act like David Ogilvy and give this ad a reason why I'm making the offer.
Yeah.
That right there.
You guys want to see this in practice, by the way? There's another good book by Dan Kennedy's partner, Bill Glazer. He's got a book called Outrageous Advertising that's outrageously effective. And he ran a menswear store, and they ran reason why offers 3 times a week. And when you're running 3 times a week offers to your client list, you got to get real creative why you're making another reason why you're making a 4th offer this week. And he had one, I remember it was it just rained in the sprinkler system went off. And because of it, we got a bunch of stock that's wasted, but 10% of it is still good, but it's an insurance write-off. So we're selling it super cheap. Get your ass in the store and you can get it at 80% off kind of thing. And that reason why it makes the whole thing believable. It's well, he's giving it away for super cheap because, they had this insurance write-off, whatever.
Exactly, dude. And I tell you what, what's funny, you guys, depending on how long you've been in the digital marketing game, that little nugget right there is probably you learn in your 4th or your 5th year. Just it's something that if you just have heard this for the first time, you should write it down and you should study the shit out of what it actually means, because it's what really makes these top of funnel, because top of funnel attraction offers are really hard. They're really hard. But if you know how to position it right with the reason why, they can work. Okay. So Steven, your first two, this is a really long answer.
Yeah.
But we're thorough. What can we say?
I appreciate you though.
So the first one is make sure you got a sub niche. Second one is make sure you got a reason why. And then the third one is, it goes back to my first response, which is you're not a vending machine. Okay. You don't like put $1 in on lead generation for local markets. You don't put $1 in today and make $2 or $3 tomorrow, unless you're doing a couple of things, which whatever. But generally speaking, you don't. And do you want to know you have to do good follow-up. Okay. And what I mean by good follow-up is not just like an email or a text message like 2 days later. And this was somebody in your group.
Yeah, actually, can I cut you off there? Because it actually kind of leads into the next question. And
well, hold on. Let me finish this, and then we'll go there, because I know what you're going to say.
We're not only just bros, but we got the same fucking pens. Look at that.
Yeah, our pens can whatever. I forgot what I was going to say. So, like the email nurturing, the follow up is where all the fortune is. Now, I'm going to we're going to move on to the proper nurturing here in just a second, because I know that's what you want to talk about. But I got a proof element for you, Frankie. Everybody and their dog is sold and convinced that database reactivation is like the end all be all thing that you can do. Yes or no?
A lot of people are sold that. Yes.
Okay. What the hell is database reactivation? What is it?
It's just follow up. Just follow up to their list. That's it.
It's people that have been on their list, and you send them a message with an offer. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And friggin' Rob Bailey, no offense, Rob Bailey, love you, buddy, built an entire agency off of just going in and on the backs of other lead generation agencies doing follow-up, which tells you that nobody does follow-up. They all sleep on it. So anyway.
So next question, which is basically that, but I have some thoughts on it too. He says, Frankie Finn, you say follow up until they buy, die, or unsubscribed. But I asked you a while back, how many DMs of them not responding until you move on? And you said about 3 to 5. Is this not a contradiction? What's the difference? So I know everybody in our space is sold the idea that you need to cold DM motherfuckers to generate business, which I don't subscribe to, but I still help you guys do it, just so you know, because I know so many of you guys, you're sitting out there, you're not sitting on an ad budget. You're, like for me, the first year of this, I was sleeping on my girlfriend's couch, so I had to do all free shit. I get it. Trust me, you guys don't got to sell me how hard this could be getting it going. But when I say I buy or I follow up with people until they buy, die, or unsubscribe, which means endlessly, either they die, they buy it and we don't need to keep following up with them, or they unsubscribe and say, stop sending me shit. That is with the caveat that that person has raised their hand and become a lead. So if I'm cold DMing a stranger and saying, hey, are you interested in this thing? And I send them 3 messages and they don't respond. You can follow up till eternity, even with those people. And I know people who do. And I'll tell you, it actually can work if it's part of an ecosystem. So you have to be putting those people into a list in Facebook. And also your messages have to be like a value add. Like, we got a free report, we did some download, we got some tool for you, we got a resource, we did a webinar, whatever. But I wouldn't generally recommend it, like just aimlessly following up with people. Dan Kennedy says, if you can get a list of people who are a millionaire or somebody who bought a widget 5 days ago, that this list of widget buyers is way more useful, because it demonstrates behaviorally that they're actively spending money on the thing. And so what we want to do, just so you guys know, is follow up with people who've said, I'm interested in potentially spending money, which is why I'm big on the hand raiser as the first step, is get them to say, I'm interested. And then most of the money is made in follow up. And I just wanted to add one thing. I think this is only going to get more important as this goes on, because with the advent or the invention here of AI, are the airwaves getting noisier or quieter? And I don't have a crystal ball, but like, if you gave me a bet, will it continue to get noisier or will it get cleaned up? I'd bet everything I fucking own on noisier. And so as a side effect of this, I go on Netflix to watch a movie with my kids. It takes us 10 minutes just to fucking find something to watch. YouTube has now crossed a point where there's more videos than people to watch it. I'm sure Facebook's in a similar boat. There's actually more videos than people to watch the videos, right? And every platform, and it's not just that. Like, people drive down the highway, billboards are distracting them. Radio, there's 1,000 fucking satellites. Spotify, you go on satellite TV, there's 1,000 stations. They all got commercials. That's a way to say that people are more distracted than ever. And the only antidote to that level of distraction is you have to do more follow-up. And so I think more sales are won and lost in follow-up of people who are almost interested. And like, real scenario, right before I met Sam, I'm not a buy a new car guy. Robert Kiyosaki ruined that for me when he showed me it's a depreciating asset. It loses value. You put money into it, you never get it back. I'm like, that sucks. So anyways, we had this old van and it was starting to have mechanical problems. And so I was kind of sick of it, especially because like dealing with repairs in Mexico is a fucking nightmare. So I texted like 9 different dealerships. I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy a car. I'm looking for this. Like, tell me what you got. I'm sitting there, like, sitting with my kids, texting these dealerships. Like 2 days later, I went to Boise, Idaho, actually technically Eagle, Idaho, to hang with this jabroni right here. And what often happens, if you could measure my progress towards the sale, like as a football field, like I'm 95 yards up the field, ready to punch it in the end zone. And then I go to Sam's event. I get distracted. The car ends up getting fixed, so it's less of a hair on fire problem. And it's like, I'm not a no, just so you guys know, but I cooled off like 10 yards, right?
Yeah.
And so now I'm only like 80 yards up the field. And a lot of times most businesses assume that means I'm a no, because I didn't jump out of my chair and ninja hurl the credit card at them and say, like, I want to buy a car. And if they just did a little follow-up and said, are you still interested? Yeah. Well, I got this car over here. Do you want to check it out? Like, that's how easy it is sometimes to re-engage. So I think most businesses dramatically underestimate follow-up. And the ironic thing about agencies is a lot of you guys are selling clients database reactivation that you need to follow up. And then you're not doing fucking follow-up on your own shit. Like, I got guys in my world who run Facebook ads, and then they book calls. It hurts my feelings when you guys book calls, but whatever, you book calls. And then if the person doesn't immediately buy from the call, like you'll often just run more ads and get more people instead of like, learning how to re-engage with the people who almost bought it. Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, Sam. Just like follow up in general.
I think follow-up is the worst, and no matter how much we talk about it, it is the worst part of the game in terms of execution. People are so bad at it. And I mean, when it comes to you guys, I don't think many of you build a list. You should always you should be building a list. I didn't build a list for I don't know how long it took you.
Yeah. Can I say that the minute you actually treat building a list seriously is when your money situation gets way more fucking stable and predictable.
Yeah. And it's the most important thing. It's like, if you have any issues happening, that's the one thing you can always go to, and you can go get money. Yeah. And so most of you guys don't even build a list. If you do build a list, you send them really bad email. Everybody should be trying to get, if you read my email and you read Frankie's email, they're different emails with the same purpose. Like, mine has my tone, my personality, the way I write, but I follow the same frameworks that every copywriter follows, including Frankie. We've talked about our copywriting frameworks, and like, oh yeah, I call it this, you call it that. But you have to commit to it. And when if you had a really good friend and you only talked to them like once a month, are they really your good friend?
Yeah.
No. So send them email. You have a relationship or you don't. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to your clients, and I speak from a position of a guy who turns cold leads into money for local businesses. Don't think that all of your clients are going to convert into money using software and automations. Just people buy from people. And your clients, I got a story in my book about a dude that was basically going to lose his business, his chiropractic clinic of 30 years during the pandemic in California, until one day he picked up the phone and he made a personal phone call to a lead. He converted it to $4,500. And he was like, that was weird. We actually made money from this thing. And by just making a different approach to the leads that were coming in every single day, not by targeting rich people, not by, changing the offer, not by doing any of that, by just calling the people, changing their script, they doubled their practice. The dude started just blowing up his business, and he saved his practice. And you want to know how I heard about it, Frankie? Because nobody ever tells you when you do a good job, right?
In our world, the number of times you get thanked, I can count on one hand.
So one day I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden, all of these people start buying my signing up for Patient Stream. That was the name of my agency. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm 25 people inside of an hour or two signing up who I'd never talked to. I'm what is this? And I reached out to Jacob and I'm like, dude, did you run a webinar replay or something? What is going on? It's no, I didn't do anything. Well, come to find out, that dude that had completely transformed his agency went into some Facebook group that I wasn't in and praised me and said, this is the best company. They saved my business. And people just signed up. That's all it took. So anyway, that's where I was like, dude, what was the thing that changed everything? Because we didn't change anything about the ads. He just connected with people. People buy from people. So anyway.
Totes McGroats, bro. Let me just see, make sure. Ramana says, hey, Frankie, I want to hear your thoughts on this. I have this simple Google review app. It's not automated, that I'm looking to offer for small businesses for only $199 for the setup, no monthly payments. This is just a lead magnet to upsell local SEO and automations I'm working on later. It is simple to customize, so I'll be doing personalized 2-minute Loom videos. Does it make sense to offer something for free to help them make a decision right after watching the Loom? I've been thinking about offering to help them set up GMB if they don't have one, or optimize their profile, or if they already have it as a bonus if they say yes within 24 hours. Say that I'm only offering free help only for a week for a few businesses, some sort of urgency, but I'm not sure if this works well with Loom videos. I've seen people doing it in sales calls though, and it works. All right, I'm going to go on a rant. I apologize in advance for this, but this is something that really, this comes up daily in my experience, and I'm sure Sam deals with it a lot too. I'm going to put my market research bot into the chat, because a lot of you guys think your deliverables are your offer, and they're not. Your deliverables are not your fucking offer. I'm going to do a GMB. I'm going to do an SEO. It's like if I go to a restaurant, their deliverable is I'm going to feed you. So I hope if I go to a restaurant, I'm going to get fed. That's a bare minimum. But it's not until they say, hey, we got all you can eat ribs for $24.99 with a, baked potato and biscuits and some cornbread or something, that it becomes an offer. Or we got 2-for-1 chicken wings, right? So there's a tendency to think, I'll give you this deliverable for this money as an offer. And an offer is more akin to a promise. And a promise literally changes from market to market, which is why Sam and I are so big on pick a niche. Because if I say ran Facebook ads for a dentist, and then I ran Facebook ads the next day for an HVAC guy, to the dentist, my promise is probably closer to I'm going to bring you Invisalign people. To the HVAC guy, it's I'm going to bring you install jobs. Even though the actual service in both those times. So there's a tendency to think, well, I'm going to give them a GBP. I'm going to give them optimization and things like that. And this is the number one mistake we see again and again and again, is that you start with the tools and then go, how do I go sell these things, instead of start with the people and the problems and then go, which tools do that? And I'll give you a small example of this, but it's an example I beat up to death, but it kind of makes the point. In the beginning, I sold SEO for like, I don't know, like first 10 years. And there was probably a time around the 4 or 5 year mark. I was doing well, but it was really hard to sell. And every time I would present SEO, they'd go, give me a proposal and get back to me. And I'd end up having to chase them, and they would ghost most of the time. And what nobody told me at that time that I really wish I could have understood is that that was a hard to sell offer. It was just a deliverable, pay me a lot of money, hope it works, no guarantees because Google's crazy. And it was a long commitment and a lot of money. And one day I was sitting in the office of a plastic surgeon. I was in Beverly Hills. And he said to me, he said, Frankie, I don't really want breast augmentation anymore. And I said, why not? He said, well, I don't really make any money on breast augmentation. I got to rent the hospital. Like, I got to rent the room. It cost me $2,000 or $3,000. The breast implants themselves cost $1,000. And I got to pay my nurse. And like, you know, I sell it for like $6-7 grand, but it cost me $6-7 grand to fulfill on. And I have liability. If anything goes wrong, my ass can get sued. And he said, what I really want are mommy makeover patients, because I make like 15 grand on those. And he said to me, do you think you can make me a website, like just for mommy makeovers? And like, if any of you guys made a website, it's like, yeah, it's the same shit as anything else. It's just different text and pictures. So I said, yeah, of course. He said, do you think people go on Google and search for mommy makeovers? And so I pulled up the Google keyword tool and I was like, yeah, they search. You know, it's a little less than plastic surgeon, but there's definitely search volume. Then he said to me, do you think you could rank for that? And I looked at it and I was like, actually, dude, this is easier than the shit you got me doing now. And I wasn't smart enough to like really pick up on it, but he goes, here's my credit card. Like, whatever you guys want to charge me for that, I trust you. Like, go build that. And there was no proposal. And the difference between I'll sell you a website and I'll sell you a website to get you mommy makeover patients is what I call like a 10-degree shift. It ain't that fucking different. But what's different is, in the first scenario, it's just a tool. It's just a website. It's just a tool. And most agencies assume that every client in the world wants more. But if he's not making any more money off of what he's doing most, which is breast implants, he wants more of the specific thing that actually makes him money. And so when I focus the tool on this, hey, I'll actually bring you the people who make you money. They just said, here's my credit card. How do we get started? And so I see this again and again and again, is you all motherfuckers start with tools. And what you actually need to start with is a clear niche and market research and go, what are these people trying to do? Because the difference between I'll get you a GBP, or I'll get you a Google review thing, or I'll get you a review to help you sell full installs, or I'll get you, in Sam's case, Google reviews so you can get more spinal decompression patients who are like 15 treatments or more, is night and day difference to them. And actually at the last MVP event, I don't know if you remember this, Sam, but there was a guy in the audience, Josh, who was a chiropractor. And I remember at some point when I was talking, I said, can you just confirm what I'm saying, that most of your patients you don't actually make any money off of? And that, you know, when you do your, you know, free thing at the mall after you've paid for staff and overhead and advertising costs and insurance and all that, like, you don't make anything? And he was like, I don't make anything. In fact, I often lose money hoping they're getting new shit. So when you show up and you just say, I got these tools, you'll get more. We think it sounds awesome. It don't sound like, to them, they're like, I don't make any money off. Like, yay, I get to work more for free. And so this is why, like, do not skip the fucking research step, because you'll just put together packages and shit that you think are a good idea, but don't need to exist in the market. And you won't be off by much. Like, you'll be off by 10 degrees, but that 10 degrees really fucking matters. And so, like, to me, the most important detail in that is, like, go do that fucking research and figure out what they're trying to sell specifically, and then make your tools and packages do that. It's the difference between I'll do Facebook ads and I'll do Facebook ads to get you full installs, or I'll do Facebook ads, or I'll do Facebook ads to help you get motorcycle cases, which are between $25,000 and $80,000 a crack, right? Like, that was one of the things we used to sell. So I'm kind of ranting a bit, but man, the number of you guys that start with tools and then go and try and sell shit that shouldn't exist, instead of start with research and then make the tools fit what they're trying to do, it's just, you just make your life so much fucking harder. And by the way, at our LA event, which I'm going to plug again, Sam is going to show you guys step by step how to do that, which I think is actually the most important step. Because if you get this wrong, your agency is hard forever and ever till the end of time, because you're not fundamentally selling. And the example I use, I got a training I'm going to do next week, but like I found out there's a new cafe here in La Paz that only sells chocolate. So the entire menu is chocolate. They got chocolate drinks, they got chocolate pastries, they got chocolate desserts, like you name it. They got all the shit on chocolate. Not one item on the menu is not chocolate. Baby mama is a chocoholic. So I invited her to a date and said, hey, do you want to go to this new chocolate place with me? And she's like, I'm there, right? Like it was the easiest sale in the world. If I had just been off 10 degrees and said, hey, do you want to go to the new low-fat diet, whatever, right? It would not land. It wasn't that she was against dating, but what happens is when you get it right, when you're selling chocolate to chocoholics, it's what I call selling downhill. But if you get it wrong, man, it's fucking hard. And you fundamentally sell something people don't want. So I don't know if you have anything else you want to rant on that, Sam, but I feel like this is like the most important step that everybody fucking misses, which is
it's to you were saying something earlier, and I could not agree more. Every single complexity, struggle, problem, whatever in your agency is going to stem from not having the niche picked out, not being narrow enough, like all of these, and your language and everything so dead set on your feature-based offers. Nobody cares about your features. And people say that all the time. It's not the features, it's the function. Okay, remove any features. What is the function of the thing? If it doesn't functionally drive them towards a better them, they don't care. Harry Brown wrote a book called The Secret to Selling Anything. And he has a quote in there that says, sales is simple. Ask people what they want, then sell them that thing. It's not harder than that. Fundamentally, it's not harder than that. But what happens 9 times out of 10 is everybody has like that in the E-Myth that talks about the entrepreneurial seizure, which is where a person is working for their boss and they're like, my boss is like an idiot. I could do this better than him or her, and I'm going to go out and do it. And so they have this entrepreneurial seizure, go out and they keep doing their craft. Like if they're an electrician, they're like, well, I'm an electrician. And they don't understand that fundamentally they're not an electrician first. Like they have to be a business owner, right? And people don't care about the features of your business. They don't, and Frankie says this all the time. Nobody wakes up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night thinking, man, I really need some Facebook ads, or man, I really need some SEO. They don't do that.
I need some AI automation.
I need some AI automation, which by the way, you guys are circle jerking about AI automation 10,000 times more than the local businesses that you are trying to sell on them. So when you talk about that stuff, they're just like, they're not interested. So it is outcome-based offers. It is the ones, and it's the outcome-based offers where the math makes sense, right? If they have an offer, going back to the guy that was at my last event, Josh. Josh, I know you're middle. We're good buddies. Josh, I'll just call him Joshy Poo. Satterley. If you ask Josh, do you want a regular chiropractic patient or do you want a spinal decompression patient? He makes $5 or $6 grand off the spinal decompression patient. How much money on ads do you think Josh can spend on a spinal decompression patient with, on a chiropractic, he's making $500 to $1,000. It's just math. If the math works, you can make it work. Anyway, Frankie, what does the other guy look like?
Yeah, I don't know what you meant by that, Johnny. So you might
probably talking about this little thing you got going on right here.
Oh, yeah. No, I was chasing my kids at the park, and my little guy was like, so I'm like the monster, and I went to sneak up and grab him, and I clipped my head on the fucking corner. It's dumb.
Oh, ouch, man.
Yeah, I know I'm a dumbass, but the other guy was a fucking metal park, just so you know. Prabhu says, new member here. Client objected to my reactivation pitch. I pitched a study abroad consulting agency with my email reactivation. I offered to reactivate their old leads to find out who's still in the market to study abroad. They politely refuse, saying their board would not approve sharing of the database to a complete stranger. How would you handle the situation? So 3 things I would say on that. Thing number 1, I'm big on what I call shoe buyers, people who've proven to buy it. Usually when people are like scared to give you assets and scared to get you in, usually is a strong indicator they're not a buyer in the first place and they're not used to working together. That's thing number 1. So if you work more with buyers, you'll just get less of that. Thing number 2 is you can show them, hey, here's the kind of stuff I'm going to send. And their big concern is you're going to make them look stupid. So like I always show them, like, I'm just going to thank your people profusely, tell them I appreciate. And if they're still interested in this thing, we're here to help them. That's why we put together this offer. So like, I'm going to make you look good. That's an important detail. And then if you want to, you can always say, well, if you guys aren't cool with giving me the whole list, why don't we run a little test? These words will get you in the door a lot of places. Would you be down to run a little test? Give me like a few hundred of them. I'll make you look good. When the board sees that it works, you're going to want to do this with everybody.
I think, but can I jump on this? I sent you a message about this last week and we had a little riff off about what you're talking about, looking for buyers. Like it's a really, really important thing. I put a post in my Facebook group and it had Alex Hormozi's face on it. And the caption on the image was "Sell to the rich." And then under that, it says, "This is not how he got rich." Like you think about the 2 things that made Hormozi all of his money. One was selling to broke gym owners. That was number 1. So he didn't sell to rich people. He sold to broke gym owners, number 1. His second thing, Alan, he sold to broke agency owners. Both of those audiences were broke. But all he did was identify the buyers within those audiences. And you said this earlier, and I was going to mention it back then, but I forgot about it until you just mentioned it again now, was what Dan Kennedy had said was you don't want a list of millionaires. You want a list of people who actually pulled out their wallet and bought something for 5, 10, 20 bucks.
Yeah. Can I just add on that? Because if you ask 100 business owners, hey, how many of you guys like if you just were in a room and say, how many of you guys want to grow your business? And you ask them to put up their hands. Usually like 98 of them will put up their hands and 2 of them will say, oh, we're so at capacity, we can't. Then if you say, how many of you guys are investing money to do that? You usually get about 10 or 20 hands to actually go up. And those, by the way, those 10 or 20 are your clients, not the other 80, 90 that give lip service to it. They're the ones who behaviorally fucking do it.
Yeah.
And so the surest sign, by the way, we had a little game in one of our mastermind calls. I was like, how many different ways can you identify the buyers? Because I'm like, you could stick me in a room like with no things and or no indicators, and I could tell you in an hour who all the buyers are in the room. And I was like we did an example with contractors. It's like they spend money on branded trucks. They're the guys who got the custom t-shirts. They got a website. They got SEO. They got pay-per-click. They're running ads. They're the guys who put in their shit in the Valpak. They're the ones who spend on Angie's List. They're the ones who do the billboards. They're the ones who do the radio. How many different fucking ways do you need? They're the ones who got a CRM. They're the ones who go to the live events. They're the one who read the book. Like I could just ask you, what books have you read on this topic? If they haven't bought any books, they're probably not buying a lot of anything else either. So,
and you know what the irony is about the people who buy? They're the ones who get to those are the people that actually end up making it.
Oh, sorry. By the way, Sam, just since we're like halfway through and I gave you an intro and like nobody was on, for those of you guys who don't know, yeah, Apex guy. He's Mr. Sold a chiropractic agency. He's also my bro. He's seen my junk in the urinal, which is how we became friends. He was just super impressed. And obviously that's how we got started. And I've been to a few of Sam's events, which by the way, if you guys want to go, I think he's the best at getting you guys step by step through the getting your agency off the ground right, which I think is like, if you do it wrong, like holy shit, everything you do forever and ever is hard. And he has, he's going to be actually at our LA event, and he's going to be rapping on how to find these untapped sub niches. Because, you know, what nobody talks about, by the way, is in our space, and I'm kind of getting off on a tangent and interrupting him here a little bit, but but everybody wants the step-by-step system. And the problem is if you follow somebody else's step-by-step system, your offer and your agency is already a copy of someone else's.
Yeah.
And then you're the 1,001st person selling the same thing in the same way to the same people. And Sam shows you how to find uncontested market space on your own and craft a meaningful message so that you can finish the sentence, we're the only ones who blank, and have what goes in that blank be extremely meaningful to a target client. And when you do that, it opens up the rest of the playbook to be able to generate leads, to be able to get them on webinars, to be able to close them with Loom videos. And you'll have other problems called fulfillment problems. But even that, we've designed that in a way where you're just kind of copying and pasting on the fulfillment side. And he's got some of the coolest, simplest stories to help you guys wrap your head around that. But I'm so excited to share that with you guys because I actually think this is the number one problem agencies have is they skip the research, they don't find an uncontested sub niche, and then because of it, they're a copy agency. They're a me too. Like, hey, I'm going to go sell SEO to roofers. Well, you're now the 1,001st person selling SEO to roofers. Good fucking luck. You got to unseat people who've got a 20-year head start. I'm not saying it can't be done, but that's going to be hard versus, hey, like in our case, like we're the only ones who do motorcycle case ads. We do them through Facebook. And in Sam's case, hey, we're the only ones who get you spinal decompression people. To a chiropractor, in my case, to an attorney, that's an extremely meaningful message. And we're going to help you guys create that on the spot. And we got a bunch of like tools we built so you guys can do this in like 10 minutes rather than having this, you know, like it used to take like a week's worth of online research, but now we can do it in 10 minutes. Anyways, I interrupted your spiel. Do you even remember what you were talking about?
I don't remember what I was saying. Thank you for the, and we're going to have a lot of fun in LA. So you guys come hang out with us. It is number one, the biggest hang up. You pick a niche that's not a niche. You pick a position that everyone else has. You are a Me Too offer. You are a tools-based offer seller. If you are there, you're going to have a really, 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 really hard time. And won't ever end. Like you will all. Now, I will say there are models that are templates that you can paste on top of these unique positions that you can duplicate those.
Yeah.
Right. So the model is the thing that you need to replicate. Like you do want to be able to duplicate things, but you're not just doing the same thing as everybody else. You have to have a unique position. We got our boy Gary. What's up, Gary?
G Money. I didn't even see G Money.
I just saw him say hello. Gary's going to be there. Gary was in my program. Gary was in the first group of people to come in. And I knew that if, to your point, I knew that if I taught them this one step, that it would change their entire business. And so it's actually the first thing that I teach. And it was funny because Gary would come in, and at that time when I was first creating our MVP program, I trickled out 1 week at a time, right? Yeah. And so presumably we hadn't talked about offers yet. We hadn't talked about funnels yet. We hadn't talked about automation. We hadn't talked about any of that stuff, which we do talk about eventually. I just talked about marketing, like the actual market, the research, the positioning.
Yeah. Can I give one small example of this, like a local example? But where I live, so what I would call a race to the bottom is if you start a taco restaurant, there's like literally like I can get cheap tacos in 8 million different directions, every flavor and design. And mind you, like they're all fucking delicious too. I'm part of a local La Paz group, it's called. It's like a local Facebook community. And more than a few times I have seen somebody post, is there a good Indian restaurant in town? And you know what the answer is every single time? No. Nobody has Indian food. So if you go to start a restaurant and you say, hey, I'm going to start a taco truck, that is going to be hard forever and ever and ever till the end of time. But if you start an Indian restaurant, people will recommend you. They will refer you. They'll go, you need this. And there's literally already pent up demand. People are asking. There used to be a guy who like catered and he moved away. And so everybody's like, I need Indian food. I can't get real Indian food, right? Like it's a real thing down here. That's the kind of shit we're talking about is like when you identify, hey, there's a shortage of people making Indian food. Like, you do it, all of a sudden, like, is it really that different running an Indian restaurant to a fucking taco truck? Like, I'm sure there's nuances that are different. And like Sam's pointing out, it's the model, it's the running the restaurant that doesn't change. But the hey, I'm going to do something that makes me unique and different and desirable in the marketplace. Like, you skip that step. It's all hard. You get it right. And the other thing too is when you figure out how to do it, even if all of a sudden after 3 years, a bunch of people copy you and like replicate what you're doing, you'll understand how to do it again. And you'll just like do the research again and go, actually, now it's Chinese bao buns that are in demand. Let's go Asian fusion, right? Like you can totally reinvent that position. I just want to get back to the questions here, Sam, since I'm like,
you got it, buddy. Sam, are you sponsored by Ruka? I should be. It's funny. I'm a Ruka fella. I always have my Ruka gear on.
I don't even know what RVCA is, but it sounds gay. I'm assuming it's a Gaylord pinup thing.
No, it's Ruka.
Anonymous. By the way, anytime you guys ask questions in the group anonymously, I assume you don't have pants on. I'm not judging what it is. What niche would be better for strictly web design and SEO, garage door installation repair, or fence installation repair? Any help is appreciated. Kind of dovetailing into this, by the way. These are the kind of questions that will lead you to Me Too agencies.
Exactly.
I was just how do I sell websites in SEO? Instead, you should go, which niche do I want? It actually doesn't really matter. Garage door installation or fence installation. And then you should go, what kind of jobs are they trying to get? What kind of right there, like a fence guy does not value a fence in the ghetto where he's about to get shot as a condo complex. Like those are not going to be equal in his reality. And if you can finish the sentence, say, hey, we're the only ones who do the condo complex and we get you the big condo complexes, like that's a unique positioning that's going to stand out. So that's why I say like do the market research. But having said that, they're both industries where like there's a lot of search. So I don't know, pick one. It's like they're ice cream flavors, not spouses. Like pick which one you want to go work with. I don't know if you have anything you want to add on that other than like, don't ask these questions if you don't want to have Me Too agencies.
Your web development agency has a market in every single niche. Just don't think about your thing. It's not about that.
Yeah. Julian says, this was less of a question, more just I wanted to actually just kind of expand on this. He says, this stuff is actual black magic. Just put out a 1-sentence hand raiser on Facebook. Views, 144. Hands raised, 14, just overnight. What the heck? I also boosted this post, no creative, for €1 per day and kept seeing the engagement go up. No following, no track record with this audience specifically. Been binging Frankie's Q&As, did the market research, etc. Also tried one-to-one DMs before, as you do, with frustrating results. Now this is actually motivating since I can see I get to help people what they truly want and they come to me. Let's see where this goes. Sam, you and I have talked about this a lot because I get this question a lot where does it work in blank? Like when people hear you can close video, does it work in this niche? And then they ask me a lot about the technical. Should I send it as an email? Should I do this as LinkedIn? Should I run this as an ad? Should this be a social post? And you always laugh at my answer because it's always the same. I go, it works on people, right? So it's like, are people there? And so too many times people like, I use the example, and I'm going to do this in the training I'm doing next week. But, baby mama loves her chocolate. And so when I told her there's this new place that serves only chocolate, my question to you is, how many different ways could I invite her to a chocolate place and it works? So if I send her an email and said, hey, Ilka, do you want to go get some chocolate at this new chocolate cafe? If I send her a text message, hey, Ilka, do you want to get some chocolate? If I message her on Facebook, if I ran an ad and said, hey, I got this new chocolate place. If I sent her a video and said, hey, I want to invite you to this chocolate place. If I send her an audio message, right? So like, do you think she fundamentally changes what she wants and what matters to her in all these different media? Or is the reality either she really wants chocolate, i.e. that's a meaningful offer, or not? And so a lot of times people ask me about like the sort of like technical steps. And the real secret is figuring out what is chocolate to your market. And like, it sounds like obviously Julian has it in his case. So now we can go, hey, who here is interested in some chocolate? And they go, me. I found out for us, like my version of that was, hey, which of you personal injury attorneys would be interested in getting motorcycle cases, which is the bigger kind of version of their case. And they usually make on average $25,000 to $80,000 per case, depending on which state they're in, as where an average motor vehicle is usually $4,000 to $6,000. They go bigger, as you guys have probably seen on TV, but your average one is smaller. In Sam's case, like, who here is interested in spinal decompression? Those are all just various like forms of chocolate going, who wants this? Who wants that? And when you get that correct, what happens is, like, people just inherently want it, and it makes your offer selling downhill. So in Julian's case, he was able to test that with a social post. And I always say, like the example I use, if I say, hey, Sam, my neighbor Wendy thinks you're hot. She wants to go out with you. If Sam says, nah, bro, I married Morgan and I'm not available. Like, it doesn't matter if he's not going to raise his hand. Like, I don't need to build a funnel. I don't need to build a website. I don't need to try and book him on sales calls. But if the flip side of that, he says, well, I am Mormon and we like to have multiple wives. So for sure, set me up with Wendy. Now I can build the funnel and the ads and the copy. And so the beautiful nature of what Julian's done is he's found out that, validated for real in the market, that this is in fact chocolate to his market. Now the sale is only a matter of filling in the details, right? Like, just if Sam says I'm interested in Wendy, now I got to figure out when we're going to meet and where and what he's got to wear. It's not an RVCA fucking Gaylord shirt, but something nice. He's allowed to wear the hat though, because nobody recognizes him without the hat except but just saying, like, when you figure out what is chocolate to your market, oh boy, does everything get easier. And so obviously Julian found that out with a hand raiser. And that's the whole point of a hand raiser, is to test, hey, who here would be interested in chocolate? If they say me, if you go, hey, who here would be interested in tacos? If they go, not me, or you get crickets, you just don't build it. Let's catch up just a little bit.
It's funny because what you're saying is, like, I think Joel Irway has like his power offer script or whatever. Is that right? Is it Joel that does that?
Yeah. Extreme micro niche such as medical writing. What would be the best way to approach them other than LinkedIn? Question I ask, and I got a tool called Find the Shoe Stores. I'll paste it in chat just so you guys know. But I'm like, I just ask, where are they already? Where are they already? Like, if you said to me, I want to meet a nurse, I'd be like, well, let's go to the hospital and go hang with all the nurses. If you said, I want to meet a golfer, I was like, well, let's go to the country club and hang out with all the golfers. If you said, I want to meet a stripper, I'd say, well, let's go to the strip club, or let's go to Sam's Coke dealer and find out where all the strippers are. Right? Like, but a lot of it is you just go where they are. So I built my own tools. I call this the Find the Shoe Stores, but this is where they already are. So any niche, just figure out where they already are. Let me check questions again real quick. Anonymous says, what's the best way to have my clients' leads be called, making the front desk better in some way, outsourcing to call center? I got a lot to say on this, Sam. Can I go first because I don't want to contradict you, because I know you got your own stuff. Okay, just so you know, this is the bane of every agency's existence and has been since the beginning and end of time, and probably will be long after we're gone, which is we generate leads and then they don't do their part. I've only really found two categories of solutions, okay? One is do something to help them sell, like assist them in some way. This can be done with GHL. It can be done with people. It can be done with lead connections, things like that. Way number two is eliminate them. And in the Wolfpack, I'll tell you, like, for those of you guys not familiar with the Wolfpack, it's our agency mastermind. We are going the second route, which is just like Loom videos. We're doing that for clients now, like sell their shit on a page. So we got Lana, for example. She works with yoga studio owners. And in the beginning, they couldn't even, like, she was running an ad inviting people to try a free class, and they couldn't even close a free class. And then she eventually figured out it could be sold just right on the page. And then she was like, why don't I actually try selling the paid version? Now she collects money on the website and pays her clients. So they don't actually need a front desk to do anything. They don't need to return any calls. We can do the same thing with like book a session. So that's the direction we're going. We also are building some GHL stuff where as soon as a lead comes in, it'll automatically call the front desk and then like lead connect. But having said that, like it's a complex problem because businesses suck at the phone and they don't think they suck at the phone. They don't think it's an issue, even though it's like very much an issue.
So can you restate the fundamental question again?
What's the best way to have my clients' leads be called? Make the front desk better in some way.
I think when you say front desk, that to me says you got a service-based business, so like a doctor or something. I'll tell you what I did. I'm not saying this is the exact thing you should do, but I don't know if you know this, buddy, but I did write a first book. This is the first book I wrote. Okay. And the only reason I wrote this book, okay, it's called New Patient School, the How-To Guide for Converting More Leads into Patients. The only reason I wrote this book was because, number one, I wanted people to like get something tangible when they bought my services back then, to make it seem more legit. Like this was an onboarding tool for me. We also had a video course that went with it. And this was for people who were doing our self-serve, our DIY package. And what we would do is every week we would train them on, we would do a Q&A kind of like this. And when people would buy our solution, we would put ghost leads into their system. And we did that proactively. By the way, you want a tip? You want to make more money by keeping people longer? Do proactive support. Don't do reactive support.
Yeah.
And so we would put these leads into the system. And then when people didn't do the thing that they said they were going to do, didn't do the stuff that was laid out in the book, what we would say is, hey, we host trainings every week. We can train your team on how to do this. Or we have a team that's already trained on how to do this. You pay them about as much as a part-time employee, and they will do this for you. Which one of these would you like to do? But we got in front of it, right? And when we positioned it that way, we stopped losing clients almost entirely for that reason, because they knew, hey, this is on us. They're doing their part. We can always call. We can do this. And a lot of people upsold, so we would make more money. So anyway,
I got a $40,000 contract once with a personal injury attorney. He was in Vancouver, and he said something that a lot of local businesses say. He said, we close 100% of the cases we want. If it's a case calling us and we want it, we close them. And I'm like, yeah, you think your closing rates are 100%? Like, yeah, okay, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
So I knew that was bullshit. And I just, to Sam's point, proactively, I hung up the phone with him. This is when we still did calls, obviously. I called him up, or I called up at his front desk, and I just said, hey, my name is Frankie. I hurt my back in a car accident, and gave him some like phony details, and then watched them fumble and bumble. And I recorded the whole thing. And then I sent him the recording 10 minutes later. And I said, do you still think you close 100% of the cases you want? And then he was like, well, what do we do to fix this? Do you do any consulting? And then it was his idea to give me 40 grand. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll take it. But to your point, when if I had just run ads for him and we would have gotten a pissing match 2 months later, but because I got in front of it and said, really, you think that's true? Just catching up a little bit on the chat here. Your YouTube ads use a screen recording with Windows 7 in it. That's clearly me and not you. Doesn't that hurt your credibility? Sam and I actually, by the way, we see this very much eye to eye, is that there is a segment of people that need what I call the TikTok version, the jump cuts, the dancing shit, the shake my ass. And that's cool if you guys need that. We just decided we're going to win the game by giving you guys the best information about like actually running this business. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure it does hurt my credibility with some people, but I also like, we're not trying to bullshit you. Like there's a reason why we don't make videos in front of a rented Lambo with 77 jump cuts and tell you how rich we are. And like by the way, just so you guys know, like the shit we talk about, this guy goes to Disneyland with his family in Hawaii like 15 times a fucking year. And for me, like I'm with my kids every day. That's what's winning in it. That's my version of success and his version of success. I don't really give a fuck if somebody buys from me or not because it's on Windows 7. I'm sure it does hurt me with a certain segment, but I don't care. The other reason I've done that intentionally, just so you guys know, is a lot of times people won't get started because they think, oh, I need $4,000 worth of camera equipment. I need perfect edits and I got to hire a video editor. And I'm like, no, dude, watch me just go make a gangster thing. I remember actually when I first made my YouTube channel, I made a video and I didn't even realize when I was doing it, I was using my internal microphone and right next to it was the computer fan. So when I went back and listened to the recording, it sounded like a fucking buzzsaw was going on next to it. It was like a dentist drill, the whole video in the background. And I didn't realize when I was making it, it got exactly 6 views on YouTube, 6. And I made $10,000 from that video. And I was like, what actually matters here? 6 views and jump cuts and all this shit, or, you know, is it like actually working? So yeah, I'm sure it does hurt my credibility with some people, but I don't give a fuck, and we're not trying to do that. Hayla DM, have you seen people have success doing only Loom or selling for GHL staff? Wondering because if it's a subscription, if sales calls are necessary. Sorry if I'm being a dumbass and you've answered this a million times. No, you're not being a dumbass, but yes, I've answered this a million times.
Isn't this like the primary question that you get out like every week?
Yeah, every fucking week. Like, but you and I would talk about it. I've been answering the same 10 questions for like 8
I know. It's okay, by the way, whoever asked.
Yeah, it's all good. You guys can ask us this. We're going to answer the same 10 questions next week. Just so you guys
Yeah.
know. It's like, ain't going to be different. Just so you know, okay, one of the things I say is you're not selling what you really think you're selling, which is a GHL SaaS. That is the deliverable. But it's like, if I like, there's a restaurant, by the way, like I can think of, it's called Au Noir, which is like in black, in if you translate it to English. And you go in there and they have like Michelin star food, but all the waiters and waitresses are blind, and you go into complete darkness and you eat your meal in darkness. So the blind waiters and waitresses bring you to your table. You sit in complete darkness. I actually remember my ex was like, hey, do you want to try mine? And she put her plate in front of me, and the only thing left was a big chunk of butter, but you can't tell because you're in the dark. So I just rammed a big old chunk of butter in my mouth. And that restaurant is not serving. It's daughter time.
Hi.
It's Frankie. I'll finish your thing. I'm just going to
say that restaurant is not serving potatoes, just so you know, like potatoes and fish, which is what I think I had. That restaurant is serving an experience of like the promise is you're going to have a bitchin' night out. So for most of you guys, you're not selling a GHL SaaS. You're selling the result your GHL SaaS will create for the plumber, dentist, doctor, lawyer, e-commerce store, online coach. So like, for example, if I was running missed call text back for a dentist, it would be about the after hours phone calls you're losing and all the Invisalign patients you could be having and the bookings on your patient system we could be getting. And I would be demonstrating that. What I would not be demonstrating is I got GHL. Who wants some GHL today? Because the answer to that question is nobody. So you have to learn to separate. This is the tool I have, and this is the result it creates for the client. What you're selling is this, the result. The tool is irrelevant. And by the way, things we have sold with Loom videos, I have sold houses, not a lot of them, but we've sold like 3-4 houses straight through video. Obviously agency services, and I've taught this to hundreds of people who've been able to actually close through video. We've sold investments. I've sold events and like retreats. We've sold coaching. It ain't limited to like all a Loom video really is you're answering the questions that they really want to know. And so the key with that is you have to figure out what they're actually trying to do with your tool and then demonstrate that. Like that's like 90% of a video is figuring out this is what they really want. Now let's demonstrate we really have it. So like if a dentist really wants Invisalign patients or braces patients, the thing you're showing them is not the GHL SaaS that does it. You're showing the Invisalign patient booking or the braces patient booking that matters to them. It's almost like a Tarantino movie. You go like, you know, like any of you guys saw Pulp Fiction, you see the ending of the movie first, and then the rest of the movie is like, how did we get here? Right. So you're not showing the movie of how we got here, the GHL. You're showing, okay, we ran the GHL, everything worked. Here's the ending of the movie. And then it's like, okay, now how did we get here? But you start with the ending of the movie. And that's how you sell anything, by the way, not just GHL.
Ava just brought me some lunch. That was very nice of you. Yeah. She got me some Chipotle, which is very nice of her. You remember Frankie from the event?
I do. Yeah.
So we got a bunch of agency owners on here, and they're asking different questions. And this question was about, I think which one? Have you seen people have success doing Loom only selling for GHL SaaS? So now the reason I brought Ava in is because at the last event that you were at, well, you were at both events that we've done. Ava was there too. And she started working for Aunt Debbie, doing her ads and different stuff. And she and I were talking. Here, they can't see you. You got to get in here.
This is really awkward. I didn't expect to be
I know you didn't expect. That's what makes this authentic and real.
Yeah.
But she was telling me that she's doing some marketing for Aunt Debbie. And she had a couple of ideas on just doing stuff. And she's like, you know what? But nobody cares about the stuff that Debbie's talking about. They only care about themselves. And she started talking about all of the different like styles of ads and posts that would actually work on Instagram. You want to tell anybody about all those different things that you do that just make your stuff work like crazy?
I don't know. I don't like talking.
Well, do people care about the business owner or do people care about themselves?
Themselves.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not good at this.
No, but the point is, like, even just understanding that whatever it is that you sell, at the end of the day, that only exists to help a person, and they're only going to listen to you if they feel like it can help them. You have to start where they're at, right? And people don't care about your software. They don't care about mental health, right? They don't care. I shouldn't say about mental health. They don't care about some therapy, because she wants to talk about different types of therapy she does, right? Mm-hmm. Right. What are some of the things that she does where you're just like, that's probably a little bit, and you talk about the person first?
Well, it's more like talking about like different techniques she uses in therapy, different like types of therapy within like her model of how she does it, and just like the strategies she uses in her therapy, and she wants to like post about that. Which,
while they're cool, they're great processes, but does anybody care about that on Instagram or wherever you're doing your ads?
No, it's more so like the stuff that she does is more based towards like other therapists, which isn't who you're trying to get.
Yeah. So, but you can talk to people about how they're feeling. Like, hey, have you ever felt like this? And that's going to resonate with them because you're starting with the person, right?
Yeah.
I put her on the spot.
Can I actually give a real example of that since we had the GHL SaaS version of that? Yep. A lot of you guys out there are selling AI voice solutions, and the number of plumbers, dentists, doctors, e-commerce stores that woke up today and said, I need AI voice solutions is, if it's not zero, it's pretty fucking close. But what we do in a Loom video, like at the very opening, is we either demonstrate here's a problem or we can solve or an outcome we can create. And so we got Chris in our mastermind. He does this in the roofing niche. And we show the problem and the outcome side by side. So like a split screen where you're seeing half Sam, half me. And on one side, we have the problem, and on one side, we have the outcome. So the problem is for a lot of these guys in the roofing niche, they have said, I don't even want to answer my fucking phone because I get so many spam calls. And so they say it happens all the time. I'm driving in the truck, call comes in, and it's Angie's List trying to sell me. It's a robocall from like, thank you for calling 723. It is spammers, we can get you top Google #1 ranking, but like they get a lot of that. And they get people, y'all hiring? They get those kind of calls. And on the outcome side, we looked at, okay, what happens after the AI voice solution works? In his case, they get an actual calendar booking of a qualified homeowner that is looking for an estimate, drive to this person's house. So on one side of the screen, we show a truck, we show a phone ringing, and then we show the 4 usual suspects that are calling. We say, how many times are you driving in the truck? You pull over and it's one of these 4 people spamming your phone. And then on the outcome side, we say, what if instead you could get a calendar full of, or you can get bookings like these from the qualified homeowners, and this would happen 24/7 and be completely trained. Notice in that pitch, I don't even mention GHL. I don't even mention AI voice solutions, right? It's about the problem we're going to alleviate, in this case, spam calls, the real world thing that's happening. And the outcome, hey, you'll get qualified homeowners. And we just show a picture of those 2 things. So this is why it doesn't actually make any difference if you're selling GHL or whether that was a service or whatever, because if we can correctly articulate, this is the problem you're experiencing and this is the outcome you can create. And then now we may demonstrate the tool after we've said this is what the tool will do for you. In his case, let me play an example phone call. Here's Samantha booking a roofing call. And then he just goes, it's $4.97 a month. Sign up here, and they buy it. By the way, it's a recurring thing, and they pay for it. So yes, it can be done. Just to piggyback on that question. Let me just catch up on the comments here. Stop watching Kai Stone, Clay Lawrence, GHL Wizards start a real business. I don't know who those people are, so I don't have a comment one way or another. No question is dumb. Worse would be if you won't ask. Totally, by the way. I'd rather look dumb and know than what's wrong with Clay and Kai and Clay. Don't know. Those guys all have something to learn from. Okay, so hey, Frankie, I know you recommend selling through Google Docs if English is your second language. Is Loom still preferred? It's not like my English sucks, but you can obviously tell I'm not American. I don't think it's a problem if you're not American. I just think if you sound really, really bad, then you can do the same thing in Google Docs.
And what if your like substance sucks? That sucks more than your accent.
Yeah.
Like if you have something really good to say, you're the way you say it, like in terms of an accent, is a lot less important. I've seen some people with some accents that were dodgy. They just had really good positioning in the way they said things. You know, that's all it is. Unless you're not very understandable. If it's bad, then sure, might try something else.
I feel like you may be perceived as less trustworthy if you only do text, but love to pick your brain. I haven't found that. A lot of it, by the way, you can position as a benefit. You can say like, hey, I put all the details in a Google Doc for you so you can find out the information you want to know without having to talk to me, without having to talk to a salesperson, without having to go through all that rigmarole kind of thing. You let me know after you've read it whether we should take the next step or not. And so a lot of it is you don't do it as like, hey, I'm a not trustworthy person, but I've done this for your sake, so you can find out what you really want to know. Because a lot of what we're putting in that is just the questions they would actually ask you, by the way. Hi, Frankie and Sam. I was wondering how you would adjust your Loom strategy when applying for an Upwork job. They are usually very specific, asking for the hammer and competing with a bunch of other people. I can tell you as somebody who's hired a lot of people, very few people do anything to stand out. They just go, here's my resume, sir. I do this, this, and that. You know, and a lot of times, the biggest thing I'm looking for is a demonstration that you know how to build what I'm trying to build. Like I can think of like, hey, I'm trying to get a software built. And then the person goes, okay, Zed, I know PHP, Java, Python scripts. And I'm like, that's great. Can you build the thing I'm trying to build? If you demonstrate to me, I know how to build that thing, which is the first part of a Loom video, you're going to win that job more often than not.
Can I piggyback off of that real quick?
Yeah, please.
And if you can demonstrate that to me, number one, and then also solve my first big problem, like, I have had software developers, and I own a software company. If you can solve the next big problem for me, which is I can do it for you on budget and in time. Most developers take this long to do it. I can give you a specific time of window that I can do that in. Dude, you are going to go to the top for that specific thing. You will go to the top of my list. If it was, hey, I can build these projects and it was specific, you demonstrated it, and then it said, and I can do it in a planned amount of time, or you don't pay more, something like that, I'm like, that's the person I want.
Yeah. Yep. Demonstration. I know how to build this. Do it on time, on budget. I won't disappear after you hire me. That's a big objection of mine.
Because that's what it is. Whenever somebody makes a proposition, I can do this, immediately there's a rebuttal that happens in that person's head. It's like, oh, how much, like, depending on, again, every proposition, every exchange is going to be different. But if it's for development, it's going to be like, oh, well, he's probably not going to give me a timeline, probably not going to give me a budget, probably going to say it depends. It's like, dude, no, I don't want that. I want you to give me a more a clear picture of what it's going to be. So anytime you make some type of claim, you have to back it up with some type of clear proof. You just got to back it up, back it up. By
the way, proof, everybody thinks proof means past clients, but proof is more like proof that I understood you and I know what you're trying to do. I might, if I was trying to get a software, I might go to AI and say like, hey, can you make a user interface that does this thing? And then I might send that to the person and go, you mean something that looks like this? Yeah, I've built stuff like that in Python. I can do that on time and on budget, and I promise not to disappear after you get started. You'll immediately stand out from everyone else. Hayla says, planning to run cold email with Loom videos. So hand opener should be, hey, name, got an idea for how you can get ideal client type. Would you mind if I shared a little video showing how? Yes, with a bot. I don't do a lot of one-to-one. I don't recommend it, but if you're going to do it, I find that just personalizing the first sentence to the person. So my magic line is I would say saw or noticed, and then just tell them something about them unique that came up in my research. So, hey Sam, saw you're running UpHex and you got enough kids to start an orphanage. Had an idea to get you, the 497 power users on UpHex. Would you mind if I shared a little video showing that? Like that would be.
Can I just plant a little bit of a thought in? I think it was everybody who's asking about cold DMing. Okay. Can I just share a thought with you guys? If you learned how to run ads to your audience and they came to you, your Loom videos are going to perform 10 times better.
Yeah.
Because they raised their hand, they came to you, you can get a bunch of them every single day. You will build a client getting machine if you can do that. And there's so much time. You just think about it like this. How much do you spend on software, on everything in 1 month? Okay. Take that number, multiply it by 6. If you don't think you can get fast to where you're going faster just by learning how to run ads to get people so you can send them that Loom video, you're crazy. You're crazy. There's so much time and mental energy and so much failure. And it's like implied failure. It's like, well, if this didn't work, then nothing else works. It's like, dude, no, you're doing Loom videos. I love my dude Frankie, but Loom videos with a cold DM, that's not the best use of that strategy.
Yeah, it's going to be your lowest batting averages for sure.
Yeah, dude. And if you want to win, you need progress. The good news is if you've been doing it, you have reps in putting out Loom videos. You know how to do it. That's the good news. Just go apply it to better traffic and people who have already said.
I think too, if you guys are going to do cold DMs, a useful thing is, test different, like you mentioned, you put the placeholder ideal job client type. I would test that variable and see which one people respond to most. And then once for sure, these guys, I knew, for example, plastic surgeons, they like cool sculpting a lot because it was run by a machine. And so the surgeon could make money sitting in his office and he didn't have to do anything. As for everything else, he had to actually cut somebody open and do surgery. And so if I said, hey, I got an idea to get you cool sculpting patients, they would go, that's chocolate to them. That's them going, ooh, I want that. Yeah. Once I knew that that's what they wanted, I would turn around and run ads, to Sam's point. I wouldn't try and cold DM a bajillion of them like that. It's just a huge grind. And then I get all these people ask me tech questions about it, warming up servers and shit like that. I'm like, dude, you could, for the amount you're spending on servers, you could turn on an ad for 10, 20 bucks a day and bring them to you and do it in a one-to-many way. Yes. Shane says, do you think it's counterproductive to my video impact to use an AI avatar of a woman delivering my message? I'm looking at the landscaping industry for clients. I don't know if this is a sexing question. You're saying, get your AI woman back into the kitchen. No, I'm being serious for a second. I haven't seen one yet that's as good. So I'm sure AI will be as good soon enough. But most people who try and do AI Loom videos, they're shit.
Was Shane the person that said that he has an accent and was wanting to know if it's still okay? Is that who said that?
I don't know. It wasn't. That was Alex.
Why would you want to have an AI video doing it?
Well, usually it's because they can be mass produced instead of. So I'll tell you what works better is there's a tool called Pitch Lane. And what it allows you to do is to make one video and then you can mass personalize it. So you can customize the background. So you can put the client's website in it. So it looks like you made this personalized video to them, but in reality, you're sending the same video. We'll often do that as a hand raiser, not as the direct pitch, but more hey, would you be interested if we could do blah, blah, blah. I've seen that work really well at scale.
Can I address the question that Paul just dropped in or the comment? Yeah, it is a comment and a question. It was, I think the GHL solution is probably the best for having leads be called instead of training the front desk because it's not scalable. What do you think? This is what I think. Okay, but Paul, go back to the context. Like we're talking about a local business trying to sell a local client. Okay, when you say it's not scalable, you're not the one making the call for the clients. The clients are the ones doing it, or they hire a third party to do it for them. Everybody, and this is actually a belief that will keep a lot of people broke. You are not going to have the same success rate in terms of total conversions. This implies here, let me read this one more time. Best for having the leads called, because instead of, that is not right. You need both. The automation is running the first leg of the baton race. What do you, relay race? They have the baton, then the baton needs to get handed to the person at some point in time. If you want to make money from cold leads, from local leads, from cold leads, a person has to get involved. And the longer you try and fix a human tool with a technical tool, the longer you're going to just stay broke.
Yeah. I would also add, though, by the way, the Wolfpack way, what we're starting to do is we're pimping clients' offers and then removing the clients from the sales process. So like, the example I used is Lana started out and she works with yoga studio owners, and they have 2 offers normally that they would run. Come in for a free class. That's the first offer. Become a paying member for like $99 a month or whatever. And she found out the yoga studio owners were so bad, they couldn't even close free classes. They would, like, she would listen to the calls and they'd be like, they took 8 hours to call somebody back. And then the person's like, oh, I actually just got a new studio and we don't actually know our address. Can I call you back with the address? And then they don't call the person back. And then they're like, they didn't come in. They didn't buy anything. Like, you didn't even tell them where to fucking go. And shit like that. And then one day she got the idea, and like we were, on some of our mastermind calls, and she was like, what if I just sold the free class right on the site? Like, why do they need to talk to somebody to book a free class? So then we just put a calendar thing. And then we created a new problem called, well, now we got to close them into the $99 a month thing. And eventually she switched it to a 6 or 8 week yoga intro boot camp. Come in and join. And I think it's $199 or $149 or something like that. And they sign up on the website, and she collects the money and pays the client, not the other way around. And so they don't even need a front desk anymore. So I think that's, like, to me, like, the future is like, how can you make the client's offer so stupid simple that it could just be sold on a site without them even needing? Because one of the advantages we have in local businesses, and UpEx, by the way, will make you guys a lot of money with this, is with an agency service or with a GHL service. If you look at their level of awareness, they don't know what you are and what you do. So you have to educate them before you can pitch the solution. But people know what a plumber is. People know what a fucking dentist is. They know what a yoga student, they know what they do. So there's actually very little education required to sell a local business. You can go just straight for the kill shot and go, here's my offer to get you in the door. And a lot of times it'll work. Like, people know what a fucking taco restaurant is. Hey, we got 3 tacos for 100 pesos. Get your ass in and try them.
Yeah. Let me, I like that. Let me turn this around and I'll ask you a question. So let's say you have a financial planner, for example. Okay. How are you going to advance this sale, or are you just going to advance the opportunity?
Are you asking me, or are you just asking?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Yeah. So in our case, we're going right to the sale. And then we do have some, like, level of sophistication where like using AI comes in if they, like, so firstly, like, we retarget them if they leave the page. And also we've got CloseBot if they want to text somebody and have a conversation, which is just redirects them to the sales thing, but they feel better feeling like they can talk to somebody. And then also we got a phone number that's retail, which is like an AI voice solution. But we didn't start with those. We just started with, how can we make the offer do most of the selling, because most clients will fuck it up. So like in the roofing, we got another guy, he just does like a book your estimate, right? Like they don't call the roofer to then ask him how's your Friday? They just book their estimate with like their GHL calendar right on the page. Part of the reason we did that is, one, is we wanted to take it out of clients' hands, and two is the issue of scale. I'm sure there is some trade-off in conversion, but man, like a big part of it is we're just making clients' offers better. We got another guy who's doing it with dentists, and the dentist wanted to sell this join the Smile of the Month club, and it was such a lame offer. It was like only something a dentist could come up with. You know, you get a toothbrush and a newsletter included. And he was like, how do I sell this thing? And I was like, you don't. That's a lame offer.
Yeah, nobody's going to buy that.
I was like, how can we put some polish on it? And what we did is we created some bonuses. And so one of the things we did is there's a website called Cameo. And Cameo, if you guys have never been on it, it has like athletes, celebrities, and movie stars, and they'll make you a personalized video for like usually $50 to $100 a month, or $100 one time. It depends on the person. They all set their own prices, but typically, so most people use them to make like birthday videos. That's the most common like thing. You find your, so we found, anyways, this was a dentist in the UK. We found like a really famous soccer, football, whatever you want to call them, player. And we went and bonused him in. Hey, if you join the Smile of the Month club, you know, Sam Carlson from Arsenal is going to make you a custom video to welcome you. And most of the people joined not because of the awesomeness of the Smile a Month club, just because we added a bonus to it. And so I'm always thinking about like, how can I make this shit cooler so they don't have to actually talk to somebody to buy it.
Offer creation, bro.
I come from a cold email background, so biased, planning to run ads after the first few clients. But if I see the angle on email could use on ads, got no idea how to run them, I could try it first. This is why I say like people aren't different in email or ads. If you find an angle that works in cold DM, like that's your ad, is like, just do that.
Yep.
Is the funnel ads for angle, go to landing page with Loom video payment? Yeah, more or less. Or would ads be hands raised? The ad is essentially a hand raiser. And if they click it, that's their hand is raised, basically. That's a behavioral hand raise. When are you going to start a wolf pack? I mean, we've started it. It's at capacity, but if you message me privately a little bit about what you're looking at, there's always something I can do. Nazurgowski. Oh, that's a cool name. Let me just get we got two more questions in the group, and let's just, Ryan says, just finished 2 of your videos. Frankie started implementing the coffee date strategies a few minutes ago. I already got an inquiry. Appreciate what you're doing. That's super cool. By the way, Sam, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I have down days like a normal human. You know, I have ups, I have downs. And every time somebody sends me a cool message and says, your free shit changed my life, like that gives me a tickle in my pickle. Even more than like we just had a guy in the mastermind who posted, he got a client for $50,000 a month, and now they're giving him an equity deal. And he's pretty convinced they're going to do $1 million a month. So he's going to have a $12 million a year agency. When he started, he had got exactly 2 clients, and he couldn't afford to keep his heat on all day. So this is like a pretty big jump for him. And I'm super stoked for him. But I get just as stoked for I got my first one as anything, because that, like, to me, is when your life really fucking changes.
I agree.
All right, last question in the doc. Need help with client acquisition. My offer is an AI ad system that live transferred qualified leads to the business owner. I know I'm selling the outcome, not the tool. I've niched down to restoration companies and tree service. I'm assuming I need a first date offer instead of dropping Loom that asks for $2,500 retainer at the end. What would you recommend for a first date? Yeah, like obviously outcome being like the kinds of jobs you're going to book them and things like that. Also that it's after hours and all the spam you eliminate. But if you want to make an offer, like a marriage offer, a first date offer, the easiest way is just change the timeline. And this is an old Dan Kennedy direct mail thing. So they ran a lot of testing in the 70s when direct mail was the main driver of business. That's how you advertise, is you'd send out letters. And what they found out is they would sell somebody like a $79 report, like join my financial newsletter, or if you're interested in finance, get this free report that'll show you blah, 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 how to beat the stock market every time or something. And they found if I got you to pay $79 for a report, you know what the most likely thing that I could sell you next was as a marriage offer? $79 a month, right? So if somebody would pay you that amount once, they'll pay you that ongoing. So what I'll do typically is if I got a marriage offer, but it's too big of an ask, I'll reduce it down to 14 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and say, pay this much. And then the marriage offer is just like, we can keep going if you want. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Sam, like, but kind of get your foot in the door kind of offers is like kind of the gist of the question.
Yeah, no, I think I usually do on one of two offers, either a self-discovery offer or a test drive offer. And what was he trying to sell again?
Let's go back here. AI ad system that live transfers qualified leads.
So I do have, well, that's more of a sales proposition. Yeah, I mean, there's always assessments. Those work awesome. That's a self-discovery, right? What's the difference between a survey and a quiz? Well, if you start taking a survey, the answers go to the survey provider and you get no benefit from it. If you start taking a quiz, the answers are designed to tell you something about yourself. And so you find out that your zodiac sign means you're this or that or whatever, right? Assessments and quizzes are really good for getting that person to opt in and to learn more about what it is that you're doing and how to help them. But you definitely, as we've been talking this entire time, you definitely do not talk about AI ads. Like that's just like the foregone conclusion. Nobody cares that you have AI ads. You talk about like where they're at right now, what they're currently struggling with, and you meet them there. But I don't know, man. I mean, I think that a lot of times when people go to I have this thing, they go to what's called a free trial. So that's what I call a test drive offer. And I don't like doing free trials, but I do like, I shouldn't say like, I do, if you're doing a free trial, I do have something instead of free trial called free delivery. And there is a nuance to what free delivery is, which is you define a triggering moment that exchanges the money. So if you're saying, what was his thing? Like we give you pre-qualified transfer calls or something like that. Is that what the offer was?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. So I would say, hey, we give you your first 3 transfer calls for free. If you're satisfied, then we start. And so if you can get them 3 transferred calls in the first 2 days, well, you start getting paid on day 3. So I don't like doing free trials if that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not big on free trials either. Especially,
I don't know about lead gen for penetration testing.
We got to take a moment.
You were gonna
penetration testing. Penetrate. It sounds like more like you got some hookers going on. That doesn't sound like cybersecurity. The chocolate is tough because the pain need isn't there. They don't buy until they have too late positioning offer for the clients.
You're selling the wrong thing.
Dan Kennedy has a thing. He says, so this is very nuanced what you're trying to do here. He says it's a lot easier to sell a cure than prevention. So like what you have is prevention. And so he has a really awesome example. I remember he was talking about this where he said they used to sell smoke, like an alternative smoke detector. So apparently 50% of the time when a house burns down, by the time the smoke detector is going off, it's too late for people to get out, which is really fucking sad, right? So he said, when you sell that, it's one of those things that clearly, if you're selling the cure, it's already too late. The house is burned down. That's when you realize, we should have got those expensive smoke detectors that actually work. Yeah. And he said, so what you had to do, the argument you have to make is that you have to make the argument that the problem is real, it is close to you, and it can happen to you. So he said when they got in somebody's house, they would show examples of fires that burned down within blocks of their house. So like, hey, you know that street 2 streets over, their fucking house burned down. How would you like to be trapped in there with your kids? And he said the more news stories and real examples that they could make that this is a real problem, that it could happen to you, the easier the sale was. So if you try and sell the cure of like, hey, you already got hacked, That's a much more difficult sale than the sort of front end. So the first thing you got to do is establish that the threat is real. So I'll tell you, lawyers, because you're working with them, you can lose your license if you do some stupid shit, that other lawyers around you have been hacked, that it can happen to you. Like, that's the argument you want to make. And then as far as the foot in the offer door, to me, it's something along the lines of, we're actually doing something like this for defense contractors right now. And something along the lines of, let's find out how you're doing. Let's run an assessment and rate you out of 10, like kind of Sam, a sophisticated version of a quiz. What Sam just told you is like, where are you? And you don't try and sell them the whole back end services on the front. You just, hey, do you think you're a 10 out of 10 and it won't happen to you? Well, let's run a little paid survey and or a paid quiz and see how you rate. And a lot of times they think they're going to be a 10. In reality, they'll be a 3. And then it's like, oh shit, you have all these vulnerabilities here, here, and here. Do you really want to get sued by the state bar?
Do you know the story about Chet Holmes working for Charlie Munger?
Mm-mm.
You remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
So Chet Holmes wrote the book, The Ultimate Sales Machine. And back in the whatever, it's the 70s or 80s, I don't know when it was, he got hired by not Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, to be the CEO of this magazine. And they gave him like a $2,500 advertising budget, which was nothing. And so, by the way, if you don't know Chet Holmes, he's the one who came up with the Dream 100 strategy. And so so what he did was he did two things. Number one, he focused on his Dream 100 clients. So everything he did, he only had $2,500. Says he went to his top 100 people that he wanted to do business with. And then the second thing he did was something called education-based marketing. And he created a report that had a smoking gun. And it was something like, I think his thing would have, it was for attorneys. The magazine was for attorneys. But it was something like what you just said. That's what made me think about it. It was like the top 5 threats for attorney firms with the passing of UGC 571, something like that. Like the top 5 things that are going to shut you down, basically. Yeah. Get the free report. And so by getting the free report, you raised your hand. Okay. And then the way the report was structured, it was, again, he used a smoking gun, which was one undeniable statistic, one proof element, and then he justified the rest of the report almost like an attorney would make its case to a judge. And he did this entire thing. So he went in with a $2,500 budget, nothing for the first month, nothing for the second, third, fourth. But in the 5th month, his first contract rolls in, and it's for like a big amount of money. And then 6th month, again and again. Well, the first year he doubled their sales by 100%. The second year he doubled that by 100%. The third year he doubled that by 100% by doing the exact same strategy. And when Charlie Munger came to him, he said, I got one question. Is this legal? Is everything you're doing legal? And he said, well, yeah, it's legal. We just have a really good strategy. Right. And so the point is you're sometimes when you're selling the thing, you have to sell the thing so that you can sell your thing, or you have to sell the thing that sells the idea of your thing.
Yeah.
That's what the entire marketing game is all about. You have to reposition what you're doing so that it enters the mind of, oh, I got to do this. That's the solution to this. I've been trying to go about it this wrong way.
Yeah. And by the way, good example of that is a lot of you guys know Russell Brunson. He headed the book, Expert Secrets. And the idea is you just need one funnel. Just need one funnel and you're going to get rich. Right.
Yeah.
And he sells a funnel builder. So if you buy into the idea, I need a funnel. Oh, I just happen to have a funnel builder. That was really entirely a lead generation thing for ClickFunnels, but he didn't sell come buy my software. He sold, you need a funnel and I'll teach you how to do it in this book. And then people got into it. I'm just going to read Paul's question from the group. Hey, Frankie Finn, I have a question on applying the $100 bill strategy to the stem cell niche. The specific problem I'm solving for clinics is that their high-ticket stem cell PRP patients naturally wear off after a year. The front desk is too busy to follow up, so they lose that massive back-end revenue. My automated retention system drops past buyers into 2 different loops. One, at 6 months, we offer them a completely complimentary low-cost value add like a B12 shot or a red light session just to keep the relationship warm and get a positive review while they're out of pain. At 12 months, we offer a premium value add like shockwave therapy specifically to pitch the high-ticket biologic booster. Would you say that offering the completely free service at the 6-month mark devalues the clinic's premium position, or is it a good retention play to guarantee they stick around? It's a good play. And also, just so you know, if I was selling that, my demonstration in a Loom video would be like before they pay you for 12 months. So I might show like 12 payments or 1 payment at the front, whatever it is. And then I'd show after, and I'd show like, hey, this is them paying you for 3 years or 4 years. And I would show those side by side. I wouldn't sell the retention system and the shockwave treatment and the red light and all the things you're going to do to get to that point. I would just sell the, hey, what are 24 extra payments worth to you? Or what are 2 years of extra getting paid? But I mean, everything about that makes sense. I don't think it devalues ever if you do cool shit for paying clients, because what you don't want to do is give away free shit to try and get people in the door desperately, unless you can like have some like conversion mechanism, like Rebecca's workshop method. Sam is really good for that. But if they're paying clients, anytime you say I'm going to do some free shit for you, it's totally a value add. It doesn't devalue anything. Like if my favorite restaurant messages me tomorrow and says, hey, we appreciate you, that's why we got a free dessert, come in on us, have it anytime you want, like I'm going to go spend more money with them because like, oh, they like me, they want me back.
Can I give Paul a little bit of insight on his question here?
Yeah.
So I actually was in the stem cell niche, sub niche for like 7 years. I know a lot. In fact, I used to rank for stem cell marketing. Like I was like number 1, my agency was. So I know quite a bit about it. And I would tell you this, Frankie's not wrong, but you're kind of, you're working from the outside in. Or in other words, like you're focusing on some tactics like, hey, can I offer this and that this month and blah, 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 like all that kind of stuff. And it's great, but you're going to sound like everybody else because your little pitch there sounded like anybody off the street could walk in and do the exact same thing. I could copy you right now. And anybody on this that just read that question or anybody in the group that read your question, they could copy you like that. If that was the solution, that's all you would have to do. So this is not to negate what Frankie was saying. I'm just saying that that's the vehicle that you get in, but what's the driver? You want to know what the driver is of that specific avatar is? And if I were trying to get clients in that niche, I would say, a lot of people like my competition, Paul, talk about offers like they're going to send you like this, that, and the other. They're going to send you a text message. They're going to make this offer. And like, that's going to get you the sales. I said, that's not at all what's going to get you sales. You know what the best way to get stem cell patients? Well, let me ask you this. What's the best patients you have? The least educated or the best educated? We get you people by making sure that every single one is educated. Like the best educated patients are the most qualified patients.
Yeah.
That is like,
clear, he's trying to keep them after like 12 months so they don't drop off, because that's a big.
So you have them like you start at the soul and you work out like the best educated people. So if they had a PRP thing and they're like, hey, they're going to need really good nurturing, and a reason why they're going to need that entire experience. They're going to need to know, they're going to need to be educated. Right. And so my point is, if you go to the stem cell clinic and you say, okay, we have a text message that does this. You're easily copyable. But if you say the best educated patients are your most qualified patients, we have an education-based marketing system that does these things, and it touches them this many times. That way you get this result. That is going to...
How many times are you going to touch me, Sam?
Hey, easy,
in
fella.
A year. I want to know exactly how many touches I get.
Hey, by the way, it's funny. Matt Coffey.
I know.
That's where I heard your name the very first time. Was Matt Coffey was saying Frankie Finn. I'm like, he's got a cool sounding name.
We love
this.
It,
is like watching the Harlem
Rockstar.
Globetrotters of the agency world. Excellent stuff, rock stars. Thank you, Matt Coffey.
I have nothing but GPTs up my sleeve, but they're all okay.
Is
the Dream 100 a good strategy? I think it's a great strategy.
It's rad strategy.
It's basically you identify the 100 people you most want to work with, and then you proactively pursue them. And a lot of times, even if you just get 1 out of 100, you're going to be way better off. IO Sam with the sauce. Sounds like the Chet Holmes thing could be a lead magnet for either organic or cold outreach.
It's a
I thought about doing a report, but I get commission on book calls, so not sure how many would convert. Can test it out. Appreciate your advice, both. I don't know if you have anything you wanted to say on that.
I think if you do a lead magnet right, you're going to get calls if you follow up right away.
Yeah.
How do book funnels work? It's kind of, a lot of people, in fact, there's a guy in our coaching group who used to run the sales team for ClickFunnels off of Russell Brunson's books. And their entire thing was getting enough answers from people to like a short form, like people would fill out this form and they would ask insider questions, right? So you said this about that. What did you mean? And so they would get enough information, the opt-in, that they could trigger a conversation that would then result in, oh, so would you be interested in blah, whatever. But yeah, absolutely. A good lead magnet, if you do it right, 100% leads into a lot of calls they're more qualified and they're probably cheaper if you do it right.
I think he's telling you to modify it. I think you got the right idea. I think like it's smart. You're getting their most valuable people to come back. I think he's just saying that, modify that shit. Also, shameless plug. Come hang with us, motherfuckers, in LA. I'm going to post the link again. We're working on some video closing.
If you think this was fun, imagine how much fun it will be in person, hanging out with us in LA, and
yeah.
Getting some.
I would add too that even though we're going to be talking about Loom videos and helping you guys dial that in, and Sam kind of inspired this a lot. His events are workshop style. So like you go to a lot of events, you take notes, you take furious notes, and then you go home and you leave with a giant to-do list. And you're lucky if you get 3 things done. And a lot of times you get 0 done. This is, hey, we'll show you the thing and then we'll stop for an hour and we have an hour where we all actually build it. Okay, let's work on the next thing. And so you leave with a done list instead of a to-do list. And so that's a big part of what we're going to do. But I'll tell you, the real skill of Loom videos is you learn how to make offers and you learn how to demonstrate that you got the goods. And if you put those 2 things together, this has like life-changing skills, not just like the fact that you'll be able to close agency shit, but I've realized that everything is an offer. So like getting my kids to cooperate is offer making. So I say to my little guy, I say, hey, Franquito, go for a nap. That's a bad offer. He says, no, daddy, I don't want a nap. I'm not tired, even though he's asleep in 10 minutes if I can actually get him to lay down, or 2 minutes. I don't want to do that. But if I say, hey, Franquito, and I make a better offer, I say, if you lay down for a nap right now, I will take you to the park and chase you around like a monster. But only if you go for a nap right now. This is a limited time offer. Expires in the next 10 minutes. He goes, you'll take me to the park? And I say, yes, but only if you nap. Then he goes and puts his 3-year-old ass to sleep without resistance. And so the magic of offer making is you can enhance your own life. You can enhance your client offers. And actually, I'm going to be unveiling a tool that is not yet released, but it is my tool for enhancing client offers, because client offers usually suck. They just say, Sam's plumbing, we do plumbing, call now. And it's a tool you guys will be able to use to like pimp your client's offer in seconds, thereby making it easier to sell their shit for both of you. And we're going to be releasing some of our tools, and Sam's going to walk you through how to find these these uncontested sub niches. And I think like that's one of the most important pieces of the whole damn thing, which is finding a piece of land that you can carve out that there aren't 1,000 people trying to compete for it. And I just think you guys are gonna have a fucking awesome time. So like at the very least, consider it and take it a step farther and actually come hang with us.
I agree. It's going to be fun.
Is Dream 100 outreach the best option for getting 8 clients at $2,500 a month retainer? That's kind of a loaded question. I mean, like pick an niche.
It also goes back to what we were talking about before, dude. It's like you could send it on a carrier pigeon. The Dream 100 is a legit strategy, but what is you're focusing here? Here's one question for everybody to just consider. If you think about making money for you, it's going to be really hard to make money. Just think about what can I do to make them money or get them the thing they want. If that's all you think about, making money is easy, dude. Making money is, and you could do it the Dream 100 thing because it's a very effective strategy. But what if your offer sucks? Well, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
But also I would say like offers are actually very situational. Like the example I use is like Sam and I sit around, we're evil scheming. I say, hey, Sam, we're going to start a business selling barbecue ribs. I got this awesome sauce. We're going to get rich selling ribs. Then I grab Sam a ticket and I send him to New York City to the Jewish Vegetarian Conference. And I say, Sam, go sell some ribs. Like, I don't care how good Sam is. I don't care how good looking he is. I don't care how charming he is. That offer is not going to work because those are like non-buyers. Flip side of that, if I send him to, I don't know, the fucking Alabama football game and go, hey, put on an UpX shirt and go sell some ribs, he's going to crush it. And so a big part of it is when you're identifying like Dream 100 people, you're identifying people that got a lot of flow, a lot of activity, and do a lot of what you're trying to do. And you're strategically kind of putting yourself into that. By the way, Paul asks, Sam, when you mean modify the retention system, do you mean the front end selling to clinics or the back end, which is the GHL message to patients? I think a little bit of both. But
it's both. But all of this, all of the techniques and tactics only work when they are based on like human conditions, like principles. And the truth is, for stem cell, the best clients are educated clients. I always did event marketing for my stem cell stuff when I was getting them clients. If I were to do something like you're talking about, where I'm like going back to, you're effectively doing like reactivation campaigns, I would say, well, the reason our entire business is based off of reactivation campaigns is because we can get these results, and we can get these kind of results because we know how to educate people about what happens after the injection. So I don't know. By the way, you're going to get more clients if you can.
If that didn't put in the format incorrectly, I tried to put my community and Sam's gayness, but it didn't.
What is that? Sam's gayness. There you go.
It didn't format that correctly. When I put that comment, it had a space in there.
That's funny.
Well, cool. That looks like all the questions we got. We appreciate you guys coming on here, listening to these two old farts yell at clouds for the last 2 hours. I'm going to go eat some food.
Thanks, Frankie. I'm going to go eat my food too. I already got it.
What's a good buyer signal for finding SEO clients? Is there businesses who are currently spending on meta ads library? I'll give you a cheat code, actually. 3 of them. 1, have Pixel installed on website. Ideally, Facebook and Meta. That tells you they're spending money or have spent money. Have CRM. That's another good one. if you say, hey, where do you store your leads? And they say, store our leads, and they look real confused, they're not spending a bunch of money doing it.
Cool. The value add offer text. Should the value add offer text to the last patient not just be value add, but also educational? Do you understand that?
I think what he's saying is, like, when I text somebody, should I just say, here's my shit, go buy it? Or should there be like a, hey, here's a little bit of education about the thing that I'm encouraging you to buy?
I'm not sure I understand that question. Do you understand the question?
Well, I'll tell you, my thoughts are, if I understood you, Paul, is like, my favorite copywriting book of all time, Eugene Schwartz, Breakthrough Advertising. He talks about the market level awareness. It's like, do they know nothing about you and their problem? Are they problem aware? Are they solution aware? Are they actually shopping around? So to me, the level of education is proportional to where they're starting. So like, if I'm sending them stem cells and they already know what it are and they've been in for a treatment, I'm going to educate them less than if like they never heard of this shit and it's like a new treatment, then there's going to be a lot of front end education. So the answer kind of a little bit, it depends. But
I mean, first off, if I wouldn't be, I know it's a local business, but if you're helping local businesses educate, I wouldn't do everything off of text. People are tired of being text, man. I mean, I think they're just, if it's recent and they just opted in for a lead or whatever, yeah, use text message, but just make your email marketing interesting. And everybody has stuff that they know now, and the stuff that you know now, all of you have this, by the way. You have stories in your head that are not true, or you have stories in your head that are not going to support a sales opportunity. Those stories have to be replaced with better stories. That's all this game is identifying the story and putting a new one that makes you think, well, I should come to this event in Los Angeles and actually learn how to make sales with Loom videos, because clearly it works. And I'm doing all this other stuff that doesn't work. Let's go learn how to do that. Boom, done.
There you go. Since he's making the pitch, I'm including the link. One more time, shameless plug, because we cannot have too many shameless plugs. Come party with us. You crazy son bitches out there. I'll tell you, my income got an up level when my offer making and demonstration skills got an up level, and yours will too. It can't not. And I think the biggest thing that Sam and I can help you with is the learning curve. Just so you guys know, I didn't make any money at all. My almost first 2 years online. It was a little less than 2 years. But it was almost like 700 days of making zero. And I had a father-in-law going, when are you going to get a job? When are you going to get a job? Why don't you have a job? Why don't you do something real? Get a job, get a job, get a job. And I'll tell you, man, if instead of sleeping on my girlfriend's couch and being broke for 2 years, somebody could have just come in and go, oh, just do this. And it would cost me a few $100 to figure it out. And instead of it taking 700 days, it took 20 days. Oh my God, that would have, given me a giant tickle in my pickle. So it's the biggest thing is we'll help you guys shortcut this. And one of the beautiful things between the two of us, we've probably seen inside of 25,000 different agencies. So we know what's working, we know it's not, we know where people bring you their problems, their struggle, their wins, all of it. We get to see a lot of it, and it's very easy to identify the patterns. And it's also very easy to shift. And even sometimes for each other, just having outside eyes, will really help you.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Thanks for inviting me on your live. This has been fun.
All right. I got to go eat some food. So I see a few other questions, but I'll respond in the comments after. But we appreciate you guys. Shocker, Sam. Give us a shocker. That's how we like to roll around here. The 2 in the pink and 1 in the stink, buddy. I can tell Morgan is not a satisfied woman. We'll do that.
Not very practiced at that, buddy.
All right. See you guys. Appreciate it.